Get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or.
Greetings to every year. There are 3 seasons of back to school, and these are seasons of immense stress. It causes a lot of traffic in town. It's a hustle and bustle. Parents are worried. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to get funds. And we thought, as Fat Talks from Fidelis Leadership Institute, that it was our responsibility. Parents, we have 2 guests on the show today. We have Rowena Ruvuza Anita. She will tell you about herself. And we have Bob Taebwa. Today, the topic is about reducing school stress for back to school. And this is majorly for the parents and partly for the children who are also not able to start school in time. You're all very welcome.
Thank you.
So Fat Talks show is live every Thursday at Smart Talk TV. It also airs on GOTV and DSTV. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Maybe you can tell us about yourself, and thereafter Bob can too, before we get into the questions.
Okay. Good evening, viewers.
Coming, Rowena.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, and I'm advisor at ICLI. I would want to thank Viola for inviting us, and I want to wish the viewers a very, very good time listening to us and the kind of deliberations we shall have. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. So we all know that in Uganda, growing up, most of us struggled. Our parents always looked for funds, borrowed money here and there, but thank God for insurance and our partners today. So Bob, can you start by explaining to us about education insurance? What is it about? Tell us, what is this thing and how can our viewers benefit from it?
Yes, thank you so much, Viola. Yeah, so education insurance, ladies and gentlemen listening to us, goals that we have as families, as individuals, there's something that we look forward to by attaining education that can be able to take us to another level. So when we talk about education insurance, we are meaning how do we secure our children's education for a longer period of time. So as insurance companies, we've come together to see that how do we be able to pass on some of these products to our customers. And we believe every parent out there, one of the biggest roles that you have is educating your children to even levels that even a master's or even a PhD. So how do we secure that? We believe that is what actually caused most insurance companies to think about really looking long term and making sure that we have products that can address that need in the public. Because a lot of people came to us and said, you know what, how do we be able to plan for our children today when we are actually looking at maybe 5 or 10 years from today? How can we be able to do that? And so it came out of that need. I would say it was a need-based kind of solution that was the kind of audience that we are getting and the kind of people who are taking it up is really, really astronomical to see how many parents are looking at it as a very, very big solution to education.
Just for you, Bob, to explain to us further, if education insurance came from a need, can you just share with us other types of insurance so that people can get to also appreciate those?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Viola. Yeah, so beyond education, as you know very well, insurance is about risk management. So we are looking at other kind of areas where people have risk and they would want to cover those risks. And that's where we have, for example, the general part of insurance, whereby we are going to cover short-term risk. We have, for example, motor vehicle insurance, we have fire insurance, we have property insurance. That one is basically for people who are looking at short-term coverage as a long-term maybe need that people have. People want to plan for retirement, people want to plan for their businesses, people want to plan to acquire property, but giving themselves time to be able to accumulate those funds. So education is just a small component of what goals people have. But we believe there are many other goals that people can be able to look out for. But specifically today, of course, we are here to say, let us plan for that goal of called education and at least have it maybe sorted out. Thank you.
Thank you. Rowena, you're very welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So Bob Brown has seemed to explain about the education insurance and how it has evolved. But can you share with us exactly, besides that, when we were growing up, I'm almost 40 years old, there was no education insurance. Maybe for people, you can educate a child almost for 30 years, from kindergarten, primary education, like secondary. So for people to appreciate it in its entirety, maybe you can expound and show us how it has evolved over the years?
That's a very good question. Actually, the education is actually, it's more of a savings plan. Besides, okay, it's a savings plan, like a fund really, where you can accumulate funds over a period of time. However, it has an insurance aspect. Yes, so it's not wholly education insurance, it's more of a plan. So as an industry, there was basically a need to curb the pressures of school fees, you know, because all the education plan started about the pressures, the queues, you know, and all that. And then people are taking loans to take their children to school. So we really sat and looked and studied the markets, you know, and then we came up with these plans that allow you to accumulate funds over a period of time. So you can accumulate funds on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, on an annual basis, you know, with an aim of taking your child to the school that gives good quality education. So that doesn't really mean that it's only large sums of money that will, you know, have a child go to a very good school, but there's something for everyone, you know. So we've also tried to make these plans as affordable as possible. Yes, as affordable as possible. So basically something as low as 100,000 shillings.
Wow.
Yes. So these funds can be accumulated over a period of time. And at maturity, we spread it out through the number of years that you'd want your child to go to school. You see, so when that time comes, fees is paid either to you or to the school seamlessly. So it also gives peace of mind, you see. So there was that need, you know, and then also, just to take you back a little, we had cases where maybe a parent passes on, children drop out of school, you see. So this education plan, having that insurance aspect, has what we call a child income benefit, which ensures that your child remains in school, whether you're here or not. You see, so in case of a risk, and by risk I mean in case of death, and a parent passes on, we don't want a child not to go to school, you see. So we as an insurance company come in to pay fees for the child for that period of time that you would have been saving. And even after maturity, we are still able to pay up for the period that you would have wanted, you see. So at least the child is assured of having a seamless education. Yes, so that's basically the
most people should be wondering why all these aspects that cause mental health, from relationship breakups and all these things, but the one thing that most people never address their minds to is education, because it's long term. And I like the fact that you have said that even in death, you as a person can rest in actual peace, because you know that your child is going to be taken care of. So Brown, what are the benefits of education insurance for the parents? Because most people need to know this. Most people don't understand. Maybe you can give real life examples on the benefits.
Okay, thank you so much, Viola. And that's a very wonderful question, because I would believe this is now the gist of the matter why people take up education policies. So number one of the biggest benefits that really I would believe any parent would want to look out for in an education insurance plan is the peace of mind. That really I can be able to work and get rest assured that my child will go to the school of my choice. Or even if it's not of my choice, at least a school that at least would be relatively better than probably what I went in. Because maybe you can look at 20, 30 years ago, most of our parents did try out these education plans. But now we have a chance that most parents have the chance to be able to take up this plan. So peace of mind is very, very important. Because I can tell you, as we talk about stress, a lot of things that have caused stress could even have other things related to education. Look at people who have to stake their houses, have taken loans to pay for education, and tomorrow maybe the house is taken. Why would I have to subject myself to that stress? If at all the child is born today and I know I can be able to start education saving plan today, when I know that child is starting school in the next 6 years, I mean, it gives me a lot of peace of mind to know I have a lot of time to generate enough fees to be able to cater for my children. And that is number one. Of course, number two is in case of uncertainties. We know we live in a world of eventualities, whether Bob will be there. So what happens? Who is going to pay that cost of educating my child? I need to be able to think about it today. And that is one of the things that we think about as a very, very big advantage, that in case of that, there is a partner who is able to come in the gap to be able to pay, and that is insurance, being able to cover that cost in case of an eventuality. But of course, beyond that, there are returns. Remember, this is not money that is going to sit in ICEA. This is money that is going to be invested, and by the time the client is coming for the money, it has gained value over time. And we're able to give earnings and profit over that to be able to give you the value that probably that money is able to generate, and we're able to do many other things. Because if at all someone is able to save this money and maybe tomorrow it is able to pay for education, but it's able also to pay for something else, maybe to help you on a mortgage, because maybe you've started saving earlier and the money is probably even beyond what you had anticipated, then you find that you can be able to use this money for even any other cost. Because we're able to pay this money straight to the school, we can also pay it to you as the parent. Actually, you decide, do I want this money to be paid to the school, or do I want it to be paid to me? So, case in point, we reach out there and maybe all of a sudden there's maybe money for education. Doesn't mean that you are going to have to force this money to go to the school. You can use it for any other long-term goal that you have. But at least we look at it as a plan B. What if you reach there and then the money is really a challenge? Do you have a plan that you put aside? And that is what education insurance is all about. Thank you.
That's wonderful, because most people don't actually know that it's like a financial plan, because there are interests involved.
Yes.
So I hope parents who are listening in, welcome again to Fat Talks Show. We're live on Smart 24. I hope you're benefiting from the wealth of knowledge from Bobby and Rowena from ICEA. Remember to tune in to Smart 24 on GOTV and get to use this knowledge to the best of your ability. So, Rowena, Bob has explained everything. Bob has explained everything about the benefits, but can you just explain to us how education insurance can alleviate that financial stress for families during back to school? Because most people need to appreciate the journey so that they can be able to take on this plan.
Yes, that's actually very interesting, because the education plans, you see, they are designed in a way that you're basically accumulating funds over time. So if we are indeed to curb the back to school stress, we need to start early. We need to start now, you see. And by early, I mean as soon as your child is born, really. Because the earlier you plan, you know, it doesn't mean that you can't plan now that your child is grown. Of course, as long as your child is growing, really, at any level of education is a good time to start, really. But the earlier you do it, the better. So imagine if someone started when a child was born and started saving up, maybe for their secondary education, and now someone in primary 6 start saving for secondary education, I mean, the person who started earlier will have a larger amount of money,
True.
you know, than the person who started late, you see. So I would strongly advise parents out there, start early, you know, start early comfortably with a manageable amount. Really, our payment terms are very flexible. There are so many payment options. So the earlier you do this, the better, you see, so that your child can have a seamless education. Yeah, and also the peace of mind that it gives you at maturity. Imagine, Viola, if you started a 5-year plan today, 5 years from now, you have your lump sum, maybe 40 million shillings. And not all of it might go on education. You see, there will still be a balance, which will still come back to you. It's like a bonus for your hard work, you know, for putting money away religiously. So it gives you total peace of mind at the payout time, at the time we're now paying, you see. So by the time, you can also sit back and say, I don't want to pay fees anymore. Let ICEA take care of the school fees. So there's also an option of us sending the money directly to the school. So the bliss it gives you, knowing that you do not have to worry about running around looking for bank slips and all that, you know. It's actually very refreshing. Yeah, so I really, really encourage our parents out there and everyone who's a guardian, taking care of.
Maybe for people to appreciate what packages are there, what's the minimum that ICEA can take, what's the maximum, is what, so that, and where are you located, how can they find you so that they can appreciate before we go any further.
Okay, ICEA is ICEA Lion Life Insurance Company of East Africa. Is located on Renzori Courts, first and second floor, and that's Nakasero Road.
Okay.
And our plans, our education plans, start from as low as 100,000 shillings.
100,000.
Yes, and this can, it doesn't have to be paid monthly. You can choose to pay quarterly. You know, you can choose to pay half yearly. You know, if probably get a bonus at work, you can choose to pay for a year and just relax.
Pull out.
You know, it
Yeah.
gives you total peace of mind. So there's something for everyone. No one has been left out, really. Yeah, so as long as you're earning an income and have some kind of source of income, really, the education plan is perfect for you. And as long as you have a child, you know, you're a guardian, you know, these education plans are there for you to take up. Please take advantage of them.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I don't want to go off script, but I felt like it's important for us, for our viewers who are also in other localities besides being in the central. Bob, could you be able to share if you have any branches up country, or for those people up country, because there's a growing market out of the central, out of the capital, and also for people who are positioned not as literate.
Yes.
Because some of these things we think that they are for a certain class of people. So can you just share and inform our viewers that this is actually available for?
Okay, thank you so much, Viola.
Yeah.
And just to chip into what Rowena was, policy of a small period of 5 years until maybe 21 years. You choose whatever period you want. We are not going to limit you and say do 10, do 15, do 12 years. It is up to you to look at the education span that you want to save for your child. Even if you wanted a 9-year plan, we do not limit you on that. Then to come to your question, of course, we look at where are we located, because your question was mainly where are we located in Uganda, so that people can be able to access us, because we would want really need this not to be central, Kampala, Mukono and around and Jinja.
Yes.
We are, but the only thing that of course we need to look out for is that we have really like centers where we are. For example, in the eastern we're in Mbale, we are then in Gulu, northern Uganda, then western we are in Mbarara, and then Kampala, and then we have Fort Portal. Those are our key branches. But not to be limited. Remember, the world now is digital, Viola.
Yes.
We do not limit anyone who can really want to invest. Meaning that you can actually go on our website. We have a lot of information there. You can be able to actually open your policy online, as long as you have a national ID, and then you have probably a bank account, or even if you don't have a bank account, you're able to pay through mobile money. All these things are really digital. So we do not limit that you really need to go to our office to be able to sign up. As long as you can access us on the website, you have an agent you can call, you can be able to get guided, and then you're able to open. We even have clients out of Uganda, Viola. I can tell you we have clients
that's
in Dubai,
interesting, yes.
we have clients in USA, clients in Europe who are actually saving for the education of their children right here in Uganda. And they've been able to open policies from as far as those areas where they actually operate from. So we are not limited by space, we are not limited by any kind of location. It is a digital world, and we're able to open policies from wherever. As long as you have what I've mentioned, you having a focus to save, you have a national ID or a passport, or actually even driving permit. They are able to commit money that is going to come in periodically. As Rowena was saying, can you maybe a monthly or a quarterly or an annual payment? So as long as you have the focus and the discipline and the funds to save, because it's very important, this is something that you have to put in the funds, then you are able to serve you. Thank you so much.
So most people, we all know that educating children, it not only involves school fees, there's uniforms, books. So this insurance, Bob can expound on this.
Yes.
People may say, the insurance will get me my child's uniform and socks. Let us exactly tell them what type of expenses are typically covered by the education insurance policies, Bob, so that we don't leave our viewers confused.
Thank you very much, Viola. So when we talk of education planning, of course, the biggest cost that any parent would want to really think about is the cost for the tuition itself, the school fees. Because that is purely the biggest expense that you're going to have to follow. School, if you look at uniform, Viola, and then other things, if you look at the component it is compared to the education, the fees itself, you find that the fees takes the biggest chunk. So what we really want our parents to look at is, first of all, securing the school fees. And how do we do it? At ICA, we do not just say, save this, save that. It is actually, we walk you through the steps. And the first step that you look out for, we look at your cash flows. Because we don't want to save $1 million when you can actually handle 100K. Because tomorrow, what are you going to use for rent and other maybe expenses? True. So we look through of course, we look at the cash flows, we discuss with you, just a relationship. And then we look at the current education trends and the school fees. Because if you want to take your kid to Kisubi and to Budo right now, you need not less than 2 million shillings.
True.
So if you're to
Actually,
save
4 million.
Yes, 4 million. I even saw, I think Namugongo was already around 4 million and above.
Yes.
So it is becoming more and more expensive. So if you're able to save 100,000, is it able to really raise enough money to cater for the 2 million or the 4 million? You find that sometimes there's that gap. But what do we say? It's still better for a parent, even if you start small, 100K. The next year, maybe you're going to order, top up and do another 100 or 200, because you're not limited to have only one education plan, ladies and gentlemen. You can continue to increase along the way, and then maybe you find the next 4 or 3 years, you have actually raised enough capital or enough savings to cater for that education of your child. And as we say at ICA, we say better together, meaning we are always better when our clients are better. So it's a relationship that we walk through our clients through, and we take really advantage of the kind of things that we look at, I mean your cash flows, your business, so that we craft a very good and affordable plan for you, so that you can be able to, of course, live a comfortable life now, but of course plan later.
Even selling insurance is like a man who loves you and is courting you. It's a promise, and I can tell you I'm sold right now. I feel like signing up already. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're live on Smart 24. My name is Viola Mboneko. I'm your host. With me, I have Rowena Ruvuza Anita from ICEA and Bob Tayewa, also from ICEA. They are our guests today. They're here to help us manage the anxiety of back to school. Fidelis Leadership Institute is the institute that brings you this show, Fat Talk Show. We are an institute that helps raise a critical mass of leaders. We are located on Kanjocha Street. I'd like to thank our partner Smart 24 for giving us this time to air and bring very informative people to help us make better decisions. So now we will continue before we take our break. Rowena, the last question before we take a short minute break. Are there specific ages for this education insurance? Because you said that from birth it's okay, but what can you advise the specific ages where the education insurance is most beneficial?
Okay, that's a very good question, Viola. Because indeed, the education plan starts from as early as when your child is born. However, we go all the way to the age of 21. So we are basically looking at the time of education, you know. So just to explain the part of when your child is born. So when your child is born, let's say at 0 years, you'll have about 5 to 6 years before they go to P1 or year 1. Yes. So we look at that age, 6 to 21. So ideally 21 is when we are finishing university. Yeah, so that's the age within which you can save up for that point, for that education that you want your child to have. Yes, so the earlier you start, it still comes down to that. Yeah, the earlier you do it, the better. So if your child is 6 years old and probably wants to save up for secondary education, you still have probably about 6 or 7 years to save up. Yeah, so that you plan for the higher education. Yeah, so the maximum age that you can save for is 21 years.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as long as you're courting someone, as long as you're dating, part of the conversations in this dating should be, when can we start the insurance policies for our children? And these are conversations we share away. We like to talk about families and weddings and all these things. And we take education at the back seat, and yet it's a very important part of our children's lives. So I'd like to thank ICEA for enlightening us on that. So anyway, before we take the break, Bob,
Yes.
can you just tell us, in this, is there room to have change? If, for example, I sign up for 10 years, is there a way you can accommodate change in this education course over time? If there's, for example, inflation of tuition inflation, as we know, the economic factors keep varying, you know? So is there a way that insurance is able to absorb these changes? And what should people be able to expect? Because most times people are sold a promise, and then when things change, there's a possibility of things not. So just to enlighten our viewers about this, how do education insurances accommodate this change?
Yes, thank you so much, Viola. That's a very, very key point, because inflation is one of the challenges that any kind of saver really has to grapple with. Because any savings, even if it's in the bank, whatever savings you have, over a period of time is going to be affected by inflation. But of course, what we usually say is, of course, inflation being a key trend that we cannot in any way control, we do not have any control over it. We usually advise our clients not to really rely on one education plan. If today I've planned to save 100,000, next year if at all my finances are better, I really need to think about, was the 100,000 that I saved last year, is it still worth it this year? That's why we come up to say, of course, as I told you, it's a relationship, so we keep engaging our clients and we get to know how their economic trends have changed. So along the way you find that you can save and keep increasing the amounts. If it was 100,000 that you started with, you have a chance to do another 100, maybe next year. And then of course shortening the period, because if you had done a 10-year plan, 100, next year you can do another 100, but which will be now an 8-year plan, because remember our goal is that it matures at the same time to raise enough fees to look after this child.
Yes.
So inflation, the way you can handle it is to save a little bit more, because someone who did not save at all, you can look at it also that way. Someone saved and someone did not save. 10 years from now, who is better off? Even if inflation is to eat into your savings by 20%, this one has money that already is there. This one has zero. So we believe still inflation is there, but of course we have to find a way to really work around it, and that is by saving slightly more and of course continuing to have more education plans along the way, because you're not limited to that, as I told you. Otherwise, there's no way we can say that we can in any way control inflation as an insurance company, in government securities as well. So how do we all work around that constant factor of inflation? So it is something we need to think about, and of course that's what we should advise our people to continue to increase their savings over time and not rely on one policy. Thank you.
So it looks like the solution is one way, the parents are the ones. But again, I would like to encourage people to always ask your insurance account executives. They'll be able to guide you, as you can, but they will not be able to match the increase. They will stay on the former savings. So people, if you get that pay raise, please also raise up the child's insurance, right? Yeah. So for those who have just tuned in, you're all very welcome to Fat Talks Show. I'm here with my guests once again, Rowena Ruvuza Anita, insurance advisor, and Bob Taebo as well from ICEA. Now, Rowena, what should parents look for? Those elements when they are choosing the insurance, what should that top 3 elements they should be looking out for in terms of a policy? What would you advise them to look out for when they are choosing a policy?
Yes, and that's a very good question, because for anything you're putting your money into, we must always look for the benefits, really. So I'll just give you a small hint about the products that we have in ICA. Like for example, those are the 3 major things to look out for. So you're basically hitting 3 birds with 1 stone. You're saving, you're investing, and then you have a life cover. Life cover basically means that in case of a risk to your life, you see, your beneficiaries, your children are catered for. You see, so pay, within a certain period of time. What does the company have to offer? Will they cater for me? What if I lose my job abruptly? Sure. And with the products that we have in ICA Lion, you see, we have things that help meet those uncertainties in life.
Wow.
Yes, that's the beauty about our product. So you need to look out for something that will give you peace of mind, really. This is a mental health awareness month. It's time to do things and plan for things that will give you peace of mind. So the education plans are one of those things. So you're not just putting away, but you're assured of a return. So 3 major elements that every client must look out for before they sign up for an education plan.
Just to re-echo the 3, just mention them so that they can know. I know there was affordability.
Yes, there's also affordability.
Yes.
And then you need to look out for the investment aspect, the return that you're getting on your investment, on the money that you're putting away. How much am I getting back on top of savings? And then what extra benefits do they have? You see, we have a life cover. We also have a last expense benefit. Now, last expense basically means a funeral cover.
Wow.
Yes, so in case of the demise of the policyholder, we're able to cater for your funeral. Yes,
Sounds
and
like a
then
great
what
deal.
other extra benefits does it have? You see, that's the beauty about the ICA education plan. We also have what we call a child income benefit. A child income benefit basically means that in case of a risk during the saving period, we are able to come in, you see, and release a certain percentage of your promised amount to pay fees for your child until they're done with that time you are saving money. And even at maturity, we release an even bigger amount, you see. So it has a double benefit, a triple benefit really. Yeah, so that's the beauty about our education plan. So it's very important for our clients out there, parents or guardians, please look out for a plan that gives you extra benefits on top of just putting away money. Yes.
Sounds like a good deal to me.
Thank
Our
you.
dear viewers, you have listened. Please act. There's the life insurance, there's the demise plan, there's the affordability. As Rowan has guided us, you need to have the affordability aspect. Please look out for, in case I lose my job, what will it be in it for me? What am I going to lose? So ask. It sounds to me like you have to ask these questions and you have the right partners with you here today. I see they're going to be able to guide you on those questions. For those who have just tuned in, because I know there are those who haven't watched us from the beginning, you are listening to Fat Talks Show, a program under the Fidelis Leadership Institute. Fidelis is about ethical leadership. So I encourage all of you to come visit our offices. We have a lot of this free to air so that we can educate the public about these things. Now, in regards to stress, people believe from stories, like testimonies. You know how people go to church especially, but I think testimonies are everywhere, testimonials. I went here, oh my God, I bought this shoe, it has lasted me 5 years. We want you, Bob, to tell us at least 2 good stories about the education insurance and how it benefited a family or a student, so that these viewers, listeners, can be able to appreciate the benefit of education insurance and how it can mitigate stress.
Yes, thank you so much, Viola. Because we believe testimony are the ones that move. Even if it was in church and someone gave a testimony of how God was able to turn their situation around, we find that that one would be more appealing and would change someone's perspective.
That's
so
true.
About education insurance, ladies and gentlemen, there are two. There are many that I would actually give, but you've asked me for only 2. Of how
then Rowena can share other 2.
Another 2.
Yes, let's really get a feel of this.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I'll give for 2 kind of scenarios. One is when a parent was passed on and how we came in, and also one where we, the customers actually finished a plan and we are now in the payment phase.
Wow.
So of course all of us are aware of the pandemic that befell us, 2020, 2021 there. And that is the COVID kind of pandemic that actually affected us in Uganda here. And we had people who were on these education plans, Viola, I can tell you. And many people had actually already signed up. But some of our customers did not survive and they passed on. For example, we had a doctor in Masaka. He had started up an education plan for the children. I think he had about 4 children. And he was doing some good amount really that he was actually looking forward to. And what did we do as ICA? Remember, we had promised, as Rowena was saying, in case someone passes on, we have a kind of payout that we pay to keep these children in school. Remember, this parent was thinking 10 years, but God did not, maybe God loved to take him faster than maybe that, the 10 years that he had actually thought about. So we started paying for the education for the children straight to the school, and we get actually fee slips from there. Of course, remember your point, in next of kin, in case of that. And we are busy paying out. I think we pay out about 4 million shillings per term for the children. Now great. That one, you find that is a very, very big addition to a family in case of any risk of demise like that. So we are actually now doing that, and we are basically doing what we promised. Then the other one are people who have had them mature. There's a customer who opened, for example, a 5-year plan in 2018, 2024, it was able to mature, okay? And we are busy paying, okay?
Interesting.
Actually, it was a 6-year plan, 2018, 2024. It has matured. We are now busy paying education. Even this term, they were able to come and bring fee slips, and we were able to pay to the school. So our listeners out there, we might think really we are giving theoretical things, but we are actually paying. And all these insurance companies, not only ICEA, are paying because all these things are maturing.
Yeah.
I can tell you last year alone, if you look at our statistics, we paid over 14 billion shillings in maturities. ICA alone, 14 billion.
If we were allowed to clap, I would clap for this. 14 billion is a good amount to pay out.
And those are people who have their maturities, their policies are matured, and now they're able to enjoy. The long wait is now being enjoyed through the payouts that we're giving out. So a lot of people out there would really need this confidence that actually we pay. And if an insurance company, or in case someone passes on, you also have to honor this kind of contract. Because remember, this is a contract. This is not just hearsay. When you sign up a policy, you're given a contract. It is legally binding on the insurance company and also you as a customer. You are supposed to pay the premium, and we are supposed to do our part of reimbursing you at maturity or in case of risk of death. So I can tell you, we are actually doing exactly what we promise. And that is why we've been in here long after ICA. This year we are celebrating 25 years.
Wow, wonderful.
We shall call you for the anniversary.
Please call Fidelis, call Smart24, will be there to cover that.
Thank you.
That's a very beautiful testimony. I think everyone can attest to this. Parent, I think this is a good investment. Rowena, do you want to share too before we move on to the next?
Well, personally, I think mine is more channeled towards our payouts.
Yes.
ICA Lion has a very good reputation in as far as payouts is concerned. We pay on time and we keep our promise. You see, once your 5-year plan has reached its maturity date, we send you your discharge form, you hand over your policy document, and then we pay. We have a very good reputation. 14 billion last year was a good amount, but we have actually paid even more.
More than that.
Yes, we paid even more. Then during COVID, we had clients who suffered from COVID and were in ICU because COVID was one of the critical illnesses at that time.
Yes.
You see, we still released an amount of money to cater for their hospital bills, you see. They are already clients. So that was just an extra benefit, you see, for being a client of ICA Life. Yeah, so all these are actually real. You know, it's not hearsay. We actually do in that regard.
Ladies and gentlemen, that you have had the testimonies. In case of anything, these are the right partners. Insurance will help you manage that anxiety. We can see you can channel the money to other things when it matures. In case of your demise, your children will be secure. So please, 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 we have brought you this show to help you manage your anxiety, to help you partner. We are coming to the close of the show, and with just 2 more questions to go. Rowena.
Yes.
So in what ways does education insurance contribute to a family's financial planning and overall financial health? Because families need to understand this. Is it just, it's because we've heard of car insurance, motor insurance, all this health insurance, but how can a family, how can this contribute to a family's financial health overall?
Yes, so the education plans can greatly contribute to a family's well-being in a way that, and before we get to the education plan, one very important thing our parents need to consider, or every family needs to consider, is budgeting. We need to budget, we need to plan, you see. So not all your income is going to go towards an education plan or towards a child's education.
True.
And truth be told, some people actually earn incomes and their biggest portion goes to education.
True.
So it's very, very important for us to budget. Budget for your utilities, budget for salaries, you know, the people that you pay at home, budget for entertainment or maybe groceries and things like that, and then also have a budget for your child's education. So when you earn your income, you'll know that at least maybe 10 to 20% of what I earn is going to go to my child's education. So if you have an education plan embedded in your budget, I can assure you it will give you complete peace of mind. Because we'll have cases, or you've seen cases where someone earns a salary and then a school fees term has come to an end and then we just have a short break of, you know. So budgeting is very, very important. So if you have an education plan, or if you have a budget for education, it will give you total peace of mind. And then you know at time X, I'm going to rest, you know. ICA will take care of that for me. I have saved my money religiously. and the budget. Now you'll have more disposable income. Yes, so having it in your budget is very important, so that it also, you don't have cases where school fees is eating into your expenses, or maybe an income. Have a budget for education. Yes, we should not overlook it.
I've just I got a light bulb moment while you were speaking, and the questions about financial health, but also discussions, money, and children currently are a very big expense.
Yes.
So you will find most couples are not even addressing these issues and anxiety. I find that most people don't want to address financial discussion, and I find that today you have come to save very many relationships. Ladies and gentlemen, please take up these insurance plans so that you can manage the anxiety. Plan for the families, and it's exponential, as you can see, from 100,000 all the way to lots of millions. So no one is left behind. Yeah. Before we close, a question for Bobby, and then we'll all give our parting shots. Before Bobby comes with his question, I would like to thank Smart24 for hosting us, Fidelis Leadership Institute for giving us this Fat Talks show, and I hope that you, our viewers, are getting to benefit. I hope you comment on this. How do education insurance companies ensure that the policies remain affordable and accessible to a wide range of families?
Okay, thank you so much, Viola. Of course, affordability, ladies and gentlemen, baby is working, the wife is not working, or the wife is working, the husband is not working. So we really want to understand that really whenever we're trying to sell a policy, we want to have all have that harmony in that, because sometimes, you know, finance of a family are really a little bit more tricky, because maybe the husband is looking at it in a different perspective. There are other goals that he has. The wife has other goals, and then tomorrow you find the wife wants to go for 500,000. The husband is saying no, at least let's do 100. So how do you harmonize? And that is how most insurance companies, of course, are trying to handle it. We handle it together. Can we have the parties first agree? Because the moment you do not agree, then we have people cancelling their contracts before maturity. Okay, so we would really want that even before you take up a plan, can we have a discussion between you and maybe your couple and your spouse, and be able to see how can we be able to handle this cost. This is a long-term plan, remember. And as when I was saying, beyond education, you have other goals. It's a period of time, and that's how I brought in the other idea. You'd rather start small, but then you keep increasing. You might like this so much, and today you want to sign up a plan of £1 million because of what we have talked about. But have you looked at the other budgets that Rowena was talking about? How is your rent? How is the other things? How is the food? How all these things have to be brought into discussion. And I start saving early, because this monster, I'm going to eventually have to, confront it. Because before I get married, remember now I have at least a little bit of disposable income. If I get married now, of course, it's going to be a little bit tight. So we even have clients who come and say, can I start saving a little bit early before I get married? And the answer is yes. We have programs where someone can start, yes, you're 20. Actually, the lowest plan, you're even 18. We start at 18. The lowest plan, the age you can start to save. And most people you find at 18, they have just finished public campus. Maybe they have gotten, some people have gotten their jobs, 20, 24. And then you start a plan. By the time you get married, fast forward 28, maybe 30, you already have a considerable amount of money that even if a child is to come, you already have maybe 80 or 90% of the fees. So we do not actually only look at disposable income. Some people are still maybe even staying with their parents, so there's rent. So you find that you can actually start saving a little bit early. By the time you get into there, you have the fees. And the other things can start over there. So really, I think this discussion, Viola, should also come to even the people who are, you started working, you're single, and you're able to start your plan early. I can give you another example. Most of us, Uganda is a very, they say our women are very fertile.
Yes.
3, 4 children.
What has it? Yes.
5 children, 60 million shillings. 1 child. Now, look at 4 children. How much is that? Wow. In excess of 200 million. So where is this money going to come from? It has to come from you, the parent. Whether you're working, whether you're not working, the child has to go to school.
True.
So what do we say? Start as early as possible. This 240 million or 200 million will not come easily like that. You need to have budgeted it and started saving early, so that you can be able to grapple with that very high cost of education, because it's ever increasing. I don't know when we start, when we were in high school, when we were in primary.
Paying 200,000, yes.
But right now, you're looking at a school 2 million, 4 million shillings. In the next 5, 10, it can even be 4, 5. Where is this money going to come from, ladies and gentlemen, unless we start today? And that's why we're always out there, at least really telling people, can you start your plan? And I can tell you sometimes insurance doesn't pay, but these people have actually come to relieve you of that stress that we are talking about. These guys have come to bring peace of mind into you, into your family, to start early. So I would also want to appeal to the public. Whenever an insurance agent comes your way, please give a listening ear. You'd rather listen in and then maybe plan ahead, maybe if you're not ready. But really, do not chase these guys when they come to you. Thank you so much.
So clearly they are chasing them because of a reputation, but when it's ICEA, please, this is the right partner for you. She does. I would just like to recap a few things that our speakers have given us today. Budgeting. You cannot save for an insurance when you have no budget. I like the fact that Rowena addressed that. You have to be able to budget for your family, for your goal. But you know what? Insurance is not only for families and married couples. Even you have a right to this insurance. And may we be reminded that society will also be able to help you, especially if you're in a single parent household. You're able to plan for your children better. As we have seen, no one chooses their date of death. It's something that is bring this show to our viewers. Rowena.
Yes, please.
What would be the top 3 things you'd like to tell people about insurance to change the perception? I like the fact that Bob has aired that out. The truth is the reputation of insurance is questionable because there are little small details. I'll give a small story about my job. Reality, and I like the fact that you talked about that. How did I lose it? It was a general retrenchment. The whole of East Africa was told to pack their bags and go home. Those little clauses, they didn't tell me that if I didn't consistently pay, remit, and I went into, what do you call that? A lapse session, that I would lose some money. So I like the fact that here you're giving these conversations and you're telling people that ask questions, let these conversations, let people know the risk. Because I had been out of work because I was pregnant. I was out of work I was 5 months pregnant, so I was out of work for another 7 months. Shots, you can be able to tell the clients and our viewers what are those things you should ask before you sign up the plan, but also guidance on benefits of insurance, not just education insurance, but insurance in general, because personally I've benefited from comprehensive for my vehicle, because we live in a town that is actually good and helps us manage our anxiety. Rowena, what are your parting shots?
Sorry about that experience.
It was very sad.
I would like to, and actually it's good that you've mentioned that.
Yeah.
ICEA is one of the few companies that has no penalties.
Wow.
For your information, yes.
I'm sorry, I'm moving
back. Yeah, and maybe
very impressive.
Yeah, it's very important for any client to find out what those nitty-gritties are.
Wow.
The terms and conditions of the plan. Yeah, honestly, most people do not like to go through the booklet.
It's a heavy book.
Yes, but it's very important for us to ask questions. If you have any doubts, ask questions. You know, we need to be sure about what we're getting ourselves into. Yeah, and then also look out for the benefits of this plan. Yeah, ask the uncomfortable questions, just like the ones you mentioned. Yes, in case ABC happened to me, what will happen to my plan? Yeah, it's very important for us to know that, because life happens, you know, situations happen, things change. Yeah, so it's very important for us to ask questions. Another thing that I would mention that it's very important for us to also look at our incomes before we go into these plans. Look at your income. We have people who like to challenge themselves and save maybe 10 million shillings and so on, but it's very important for you to look at your income so that you're also not constrained at the end of the day. You know, I'd want my child to go to a certain international school, but can I afford it?
The reality, yeah.
Exactly. And then time. Time is of the essence. You see, it still takes me back to my point. The earlier we plan, the earlier we take this on, the better. Because you will all agree with me that education, for example, is the one thing that keeps increasing. The school fees keeps increasing as long as your child is growing.
True.
You see, so there is no point in time where the head teacher will come and say, okay, this time we have a discount.
No.
You know, so I mean, those things will not happen. So the earlier you start, putting some money away. I mean, not much, as low as 100,000. I mean, this is money you can spend on a weekend with your children. Maybe walk into a restaurant and spend 300,000 shillings. I mean, if you just put away half of that on a monthly basis, you know, it will yield into a big ocean. Those small drops you put away will yield into a big ocean, you know, and it will also give you options. Not all your funds might go towards education. You will also have, not forget yourselves as you're planning for your children. You know, if you have a budget, let's say maybe you have a budget of 200,000 shillings, split it. Have something for your child, have something for yourself. Do not forget yourself, because as much as we want to do so much and so many good things for our children, our mental health is key. Our mental health is key. We also need to look after ourselves. We need to be in good health, perfect health. Yeah, so have something for yourself besides having something for your children. Yeah, so please plan, budget, and look out for the very cost-effective products, you know, the ones that have good benefits, and please read and ask questions as much as you can. Yes.
That's wonderful. Read, ask questions, budget, and to the parents, please do not forget yourselves. It has to be a balance. Bob, parting shots.
My parting shots would be, thank you, Viola, to really encourage parents to take up this plan. Goals. I mean, there's more beyond education. People want to grow their businesses. People need to plan for retirement. We have programs for all these. You can come and say, me, I'm retiring in the next 5 or 10 years. Can you craft a program for me so that by the time I retire, I have my 100 million shillings and I can be able to have a comfortable retirement? We have that. We have people who come and say, I want to maybe save for capital to start another business. We have that kind of plan, not only education, but that. So at ICA, we don't only look at it. I want a plan for my retirement. I even want a plan for vacation, because someone said I have to save for that. I have to plan for my business. I mean, there are many goals that we can be able to look out for. But what I can say, it is really a good thing to really sit down with a good financial advisor, like from ICEA, and then you're able to go through all these things together. Not just buying just in a rush because you've gotten someone who has come your way, but look at all the other programs, see what actually is copied out well for you to be able to start these plans. But of course, beyond that, I cannot go to without saying thank you so much, Smart 24 TV, for this opportunity, because one of the things that I believe in is that information is power. There are people out there who did not know that these things are actually applicable. They are working out. And someone is going to sign today because of this kind of information. So I would say thank you for exposing us. We are available whenever you feel you have time to be able to reach us out, to be able to talk, and at least reach out to our public. We are there available. Maybe the last one is that, by the way, it's not only Uganda. We have people who say, I want to educate my child in Cambridge, in Oxford. Do not say we are only limited here. You can come, we craft for you a policy, and then you're able to save money that can actually be able to get sufficient to educate your child, even outside of Uganda. So with that, I want to thank you, and I look forward to even a better kind of evaluation from our clients, even those who want to sign, please.
So I hope you've enjoyed this topic on easing back to school stress. I hope that we have one more back to school to finish this year. This term ends in August. So I hope by September, you'll have taken up an insurance program, education with ICEA. Remember, what the take home for me has been there are no penalties. And that is very key, because with all the uncertainties and having no penalties, that's a perfect plan. So thank you for tuning in. My name is Viola Mboneko Rusoke, and our guest speakers today, thank you so much, Rowena Ruvuza Anita, for coming. And thank you so much, Bob Taebwa. And to the ICEA team across the country, thank you so much. And Fat Talks, thank you so much. And Smart 24. Thank you. See you again next Thursday. And ciao. God bless you. Thank you.